Bar Shack, baby Bar Shack. Bar Shack, baby Bar Shack. Bar Shack, baby Bar Shack. What's going on, guys? Jake Boley with BarBend.com. Today we're going to be looking at another protein bar review. And this protein bar is a little bit different than others we've done in the past. Why? Because these are custom made bars from Bar Shack. So we've made two different flavors here. And if you're kind of new to Bar Shack or you haven't really seen them around, then you're probably right in doing so. They haven't been available to the public until January 2018, so they are a relatively new service. So we're pumped to give them a try. I've made two bars here based off of flavors that I want and kind of the macronutrients that I want in the bar. But we'll dive more into that in this later clips. So now let's start with the taste test. All right, so now let's look at the taste test. We've made two different bars here. We have the BarBend Peanut Butter Cup Bar and the BarBend Nuts and Nibs Bar. So you get to name your own bars, which is pretty cool if you want to send a gift and let's say name a bar something funny for a friend. And you also get to pick the coloring of the bar wrapper. I picked yellow. It's like the standard color in the site, and I just picked something that's standard. So now let's dive into the taste test, and keep in mind that I might be a little bit biased because I did make these bars, so I picked all flavors that I was gonna like. But let's dive into the taste test of the BarBend Nuts and Nibs. So one thing I was really interested in when I first received these bars was how the texture was gonna hold up and how they were gonna differentiate. The textures between each bar are pretty similar, but I'll show you that in a later clip. So now let's do a taste test of the Nuts and Nibs. And without telling you what's in it, I'm gonna give you a taste test of the bar itself. It's a very chewy bar. It tastes like a little bit more of like a natural flavored bar that you'd be like eating during a hike or something like that. That has a lot of dates, a lot of different kind of almond butters or peanut butters, some nuts to it. All in all, I like the taste of the bar. Obviously, I picked all the ingredients for the bar, so it would be really weird if I didn't like the taste. The taste is good. It's not overly chewy. It's not overly crunchy either, which I like. I like that kind of in-between ground. So all in all, I would give the BarBend Nuts and Nibs bar, which I custom built, a 9 out of 10. So pats on the back to me, pats on the back to Bar Shack for putting together a pretty tasty bar. Okay, so now let's talk texture of the bars. So the texture of each bar is gonna be really dependent on what you choose to put in the bar. I obviously made these flavors, so they're gonna be textures that I usually typically like in foods. So the BarBend Nuts and Nibs, it has a little bit more of a like a chewier vibe to it. And as you can see, it breaks apart pretty well. It doesn't really get stuck to the hands. I mean, it does at parts where I have chocolate in there or dates, but all in all, it breaks apart pretty well. It's not overly chewy like a taffy. And then we have the BarBend Peanut Butter Cup Bar, which has more of like a almond butter kind of flair to it. And as you can see, it breaks apart a lot easier. There's not as much chewy texture to it. So it breaks apart accordingly to how that flavoring is. As you can see, it pretty much breaks apart in my hand. But all in all, those are the flavor differences, texture differences, and it's gonna come down to what you want in the bar. So all in all, texture based on what you want. So now let's talk nutrition breakdown of the Bar Shack custom made bars we have here. So as opposed to other companies where they have set macros and calories on each bar, they're gonna vary a lot depending on what flavors and ingredients you put in each bar. But to give you context, I'm gonna go through the macros on each of the bars we made, and they're a little bit different, and they're gonna be dependent on what ingredients you put into the bar, so that's always something to keep in mind. On their site, they have a live nutrition label that updates when you put in different ingredients, so you could try to get the macros based off of what you want. Also, they have different clips and videos to help you kind of get like, let's say a low sugar bar or a higher protein bar, stuff like that. So now let's dive into the macros and calories on our bars. So for the BarBend Nuts and Nibs, we have 212 calories, 10 grams of fat, we have 13 grams of fiber, 27 grams of carbs, and then 13 grams of protein. For our BarBend Peanut Butter Cup Bar, we have 248 calories, 15 grams of fat, 22 grams of carbs, 11 grams of fiber, and 13 grams of protein. And then let's read off the ingredients for the bar. So I'm just gonna do one ingredient to save some time. Let's do the ingredients on the BarBend Nuts and Nibs. So we have an organic roasted almond butter, a fiber syrup, dates, whey isolate, raw grass-fed whey, egg white protein, chia powder, almonds, cacao nibs, oats, chocolate chips, cocoa rice, crisps, apple, cinnamon, cacao, and butter pecan flavor. And now all of those ingredients were custom picked by me. So again, when it comes to nutrition, I kind of like sought out a bar that was a little bit lower in calories, that had a decent amount of fiber, but also like 13 grams of protein, which is a pretty fair amount for bar. But again, all of the nutrition, macros, and calories for each bar are gonna come down to what you want, and you can see the updated nutrition label on their site. All right, so something that's a little bit more interesting with Bar Shack and their bars is how you actually order the bar and build your own bar. So now I'm gonna give you a live look at what it looks like to order a bar. So let's take a look. All right, to give you guys an idea of how you actually order, so we built gourmet bars, and so we're gonna go click gourmet protein bars on their website, and then we scroll down, and we have 3 different bases here. Let's go ahead and pick soft and nutty seedy on fiber syrup. So then we scroll down even more, and so we get 3 choices of nut and seed butters. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick roasted almond butter, chocolate honey cashew, and then peanut butter. And you'll notice over here to the right that the nutrition labels are updating, and these are gonna change as we go down. So as you'll see, the calories aren't gonna stick around like that forever, nor are the carbohydrates or protein. So scrolling down, now we get protein powders and flours. We get 3 of these. I'm gonna go with egg white protein, whey isolate, and then a grass-fed whey. So that just bumped up our protein a pretty good amount, and it also decreased our calories and our fat content, and also our carbohydrates. And now let's scroll down even more. So we get 2 nuts and seeds. So I'm gonna go with almonds and poppy seeds. So not much of a change over here on the side. Scrolling down even more, we have dried fruit. I am a big fan of apple and banana, so we'll include those. We just had our protein get docked one. And again, guys, you don't have to pick something on everything. Like if I wanted to select these off and just keep scrolling, I could totally do so. But now let's scroll down to the flavor and texture enhancers. We get 4 of these. And again, you don't have to include all 4, but I'm gonna go ahead and do so for the sake of the video. Let's do cacao nibs, cocoa rice crisps, let's do maple sugar flakes, and then sea salt. So again, a little bit of a manipulation on the macronutrients. Calories have been pretty consistent since we added in the protein powders. And then last we have flavor oils. And again, you don't have to include these, but I'm gonna go ahead and put cake batter flavor, just for the sake of argument, and cookie dough flavor. Get my sweet tooth on. And look, they have a ton of different flavors here. So if you don't like the 2 that I chose, you can always go back and pick what you like. And then let's go to the boosters. All right, let's go chia powder, cacao, and cinnamon. So as you can see, that just docked our protein a little bit. So if you didn't want to do so, you can totally unclick these and just keep scrolling. And so as you can see, review order, so we have all of these, and we could just exit out of them now if we didn't want that and we wanted to manipulate our stuff, but we'll keep 2 in there. Well, actually, let's play with it a little bit. Let's get rid of this, let's get rid of that, get rid of that. And so as you can see, you can customize them at the end. And now let's add a name, BarBend Review Protein Bar. And let's go ahead and pick green because that is the BarBend color. And then we can only select a box of 12 down here, which comes out to $3.50 per bar and $42 per box. And now let's add that to our cart. So when it comes to price for Bar Shack bars, the price is gonna vary depending on what kind of bar you want. So every bar they sell comes in a box of 12, and they have 3 different kinds of bars. And that's the protein bar, the gourmet bar, and the cheat day dessert bar. So for a box of 12 of the first option, protein bar, you can expect to pay $36, which comes out to about $3 per bar. And then for the gourmet and cheat day dessert bars, for a box of 12, they come out to $42, and that's about $3.50 per bar. So in terms of individual bars comparing to others in the market, they're right in line. But don't forget, and I mentioned this in the cons section, that when you order, you are gonna have a little bit of a shipping fee, and that's gonna be dependent based on where you live, but it's around like $7 to $8 for ground shipping. So that's gonna tack on to either the 36 or 42, depending on which bar you order. But all in all, in terms of individual bar price, they do come in similar to others on the market, but there is that extra shipping fee. And it's also worth noting that you have to get a box of 12 and you can't individually order bars. So if that's kind of a turnoff, then that's something to keep in mind. All right, let's talk pros with the Bar Shack custom-made bars. I had 3 things I liked. Number 1 was obviously the customization. I thought it was pretty cool being able to pick your own ingredients and make your own bar. That's pretty unique, and I think that all the ingredients that they list are pretty much foods that I would normally eat on a normal basis, or a lot of strength athletes would for that matter. And I think it's pretty cool being able to pick and make your own bar. Number 2, I like the macronutrients and calories, and I like how they have an updated nutrition label on the screen that you get to kind of watch as you pick ingredients. This gives you some variability between building the bar that you would want for your macros and calories. Obviously, it's not gonna give you like the variability to be like a 40-gram protein bar with 1 gram of fat. That's not really realistic, but in terms of giving you some variability, they do a pretty good job, and it's pretty cool seeing it all updated live. And then lastly, I like that you get to name your own bar and pick its own color. That might be a minute detail for many, but if you're trying to like let's say send a box to a friend or something, it's pretty cool being able to pick a funny name and then send them a box of protein bars that they would like and especially fit into their lifestyle. So all in all, those are my 3 pros. They're a little bit more unique to Bar Shack, and I think that they could definitely work for other strength athletes. So in terms of cons, I had two potential cons I can see strength athletes having. Number one is the bars themselves aren't priced higher than others in the market. They range between like $3 to $350 depending on the box and bar you get, but there is a shipping fee which comes around like $7.99 if you're paying for the ground shipping. So that is something to kind of keep in mind, which is going to bump up the price a little bit. And then number two, I found that they might be a little bit limited in terms of ingredients. If you, let's say you have like any kind of allergies to nuts or peanuts or something like that, then these bars might be a little bit limiting. But again, that's going to come down to personal preference, and it's not necessarily a con if that doesn't really apply to you. To wrap up my review of the Bar Shack protein bars, I like that you get to name your own bars and get to pick your own flavors, but there were a couple drawbacks that I could see others having with this service. To read more of my full thoughts, visit us at barbend.com or Google BarBend and Bar Shack. And guys, as always, we receive free products and participate in affiliate programs where we're compensated for purchases through links on our site. If you want to read more about that, then visit our page on barbend.com, additional disclosures and disclaimers.